Hello there folks and welcome back to the Neil Robertson Pro Career on Snooker 19. Today it is time for part 72 of Season 4 and the quarter final of the ManBet X Welsh Open against an old adversary, the Rocket, Ronnie O'Sullivan. This is the first time we played against Ronnie since that fateful day last season, which was to be our last match of the season. Of course, I'm talking about that match where we were 13-4 up, not 13-4, 12-4 up. Needed one frame to get through to the quarterfinal of the World Championship, and as you'll see on the matchup history, Ronnie O'Sullivan won 9 in a row to take that from us. He's a player we haven't got a very good record against at all. I thought we'd played him since that match, and I checked through my stats, but certainly haven't played him since then. As you can see, Ronnie O'Sullivan is a man that we don't beat very regularly. We've beaten him twice in this career mode, once in the decider, and then at the last 16 of the Paul Hunter Classic last year. But generally speaking, Ronnie O'Sullivan has got a good hold over us. So this might be the last ever chance we get in this career mode, given it is the last season. This might be the last ever time we play against Ronnie O'Sullivan, so it could be our last chance to go and strike a blow and beat the Rocket. Now, today's episode, we're going to do it all in one episode, all 9 frames, or at least a best of 9. Just because I feel like the series running on a little bit too long now. We are doing well in events, which is excellent, but I just think by trying to condense things down a little bit, hopefully we'll be finished a few weeks quicker. Again, it's not me trying to rush the series at all. It's just me appreciating that there might be other opportunities that come along for me, say about June time, and we're looking at getting the series done around about there. But again, I'm not going to rush, but I don't think it's too drastic a move to play these best of 9s all in one session. If it gets particularly scrappy and it's going to be a long episode, then I'll make a judgment there to split it into 2. But it could be one side and all over in 5. I can't see it, but Ronnie O'Sullivan is a player that we do worry about, I think. Maybe less so today, because for the first time, Ronnie O'Sullivan is below us in the rankings. Incredibly, Ronnie O'Sullivan has dropped down to number 8 in the rankings, which is incredible, really. And we are above him in those rankings. So we've got a chance, we certainly have. And we've been left here with a half chance on the red. Should be able to knock this in. But we've come way too far up for the black. I misjudged that one massively. So blue it is, I think.
He'll play this with plenty of power.
I thought for the last few days now we were playing against Judd Trump in this round. No idea why. But before recording this, I thought, oh, we're playing against Judd. And then I thought, well, no, we're not. We're playing against Ronnie. Don't see us making too much of this break. But again, we're at the table. We might as well have a punch at it. That is a good shot. That's a good shot. So this is potentially an early chance to get into the balls here. Just got to make sure we pop the black at the same time. Which we have done. And it's a good split. But once again, we need to know where the cue ball stops and whether there's going to be a potting opportunity. It's all well and good having the balls all over the table. If you can't pot any of them, then it's as much use as whatever you want to insert there. And to be honest, there's nothing easy. It's just one of those long hops, I think, here, which we play with an element of safety involved. And hope for the best. Nope, nowhere near. But rather fortunate, as you can see, the red's come a long way from the pocket. Sometimes you are best missing by a long way, because it doesn't give your opponent an absolute chance to get in. There's a half chance on the red, but I'm a bit hesitant about that, purely because if we miss that, we'll leave heaven and earth on for Ronnie here. And we don't want to give him a chance without really fighting for it too much. So this is back up to bulk. It's a decent shot. But again, there are chances here which Ronnie might look to take on. He's going to take this one on. And it's a good pot.
Tremendous pot. Brilliant.
So he played an attacking shot from the outset, and it's been one that hasn't worked for us. Not really much more we could have done, to be honest, with that split. A bit unfortunate.
9.
And by now, Ronnie's played against us before, and the fact the reds are wide open, We might be sitting in our chair for the duration of this frame. That's how I feel. I think the only person that can beat us now is ourselves.
13.
Would have been a great opportunity to open up for ourselves, but obviously Ronnie's at the table, so he's looking to take it.
18.
But in this version of the world, Ronnie O'Sullivan hasn't been very successful.
19.
I think he's won 2 events since the start of the career mode. By comparison, Judd Trump and Mark Selby have won 20 odd. It's been very much Selby and Trump domination. That's why they're so far clear at the top.
26. 27.
But despite not playing very well and not winning tournaments, he's been a bit of a thorn in our side. Albeit maybe not everybody else's.
35.
So I think if I'm right, it will go to, if we are to get through to the next round, it will go to a best of 11s for the semis and then a best of 19 for the final. If we are indeed to get there.
43.
But we'll see how we go today. Again, I think we just need to go into these matches, as I am, with the mentality that we play our best snooker. Don't be too compromising, just play the way we usually do and see how we come out.
51.
And I've been playing well recently, and I think that's just because of that freedom. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes we get battered 5-0. It's not our day. Look when we played Judd Trump a week or so ago in the Grand Prix. We just weren't in that match, and we shrugged it off and played some really good snooker in the last episode. With that last 16 victory, albeit in a decider, of course, against Sean Murphy. But Ronnie O'Sullivan's made a mistake there. Really has, so... Still in the frame. But it's going to have to be a safety here. He got everything wrong, to be honest. And we haven't done much better there. We've hit the pink. And there might just be the angle to knock this one into the middle pocket. It's tight. No, he doesn't fancy that. That's a relatively poor safety, though, from there. So, could be a route back into the frame. My issue is, if you look here, where does the position for the black come from? Because we're going to have to get onto the black to get on one of these reds.
Long red to the corner pocket.
And as a result of being aggressive and going for that black, it's put off our pot, so not great stuff there. But we got on the black. We would have got on the black nicely. Maybe not for the next red. It was going to be a tricky table to navigate.
1.
So I think we just have to suck it up that it's an opportunity lost. Just needs this red, does Ronnie, and he's got it.
5.
So I'm going to be a bit of a party pooper and just concede the frame there.
Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Well played to take that frame.
And Ronnie O'Sullivan leads
Second frame.
here at the Welsh Open.
O'Sullivan to break.
Again, we had a good start. Picked out a good long red, but just didn't quite work for us, unfortunately, there. These things happen. That's life. Just play that red off the cushion and bring it back in. Could have done with a better contact on the yellow there, because that has opened up now for a long pot. But again, not going to panic too soon here. It will come to us, this match. I'm fairly confident of it.
He's looking at potting this into the right corner pocket.
It's just I do start panicking when we're chasing. It's great when you're out to head and we're a good front runner. Apart from when we played Ronnie in that World Championship match.
8.
Needs a few good shots here, though, to open things up. Sure, he's got a red up bulk and one at the middle pocket, but it's still awkward to get up for. So we're going for the pink. Interesting choice. And red by the blue.
16.
And again, he's got the black wrong again, actually, there. So he's going for the blue ball, and he's way off that one.
16.
That was a disaster. Now, the preferred shot there would be to play the blue, but I'm just hesitant about that, purely because I can't see how we get any sort of position on the reds. And looking at all of these shots, actually, I mean, there's this aggressive one with the green, which I'm inclined to go for. Got to make sure we pot the green. It's been doubly sure about it. It's a good pot, and have we been rewarded with a good enough split to open up a potting opportunity? We certainly have.
4.
And let's see if we can repeat what Ronnie did and win the frame in some style.
Nicely onto the black.
5.
Certainly is. Ooh, that's not quite come up long enough, really. Lost it a touch, I do agree with that.
12.
But if we play this well enough, we can recover that position. I'm just hesitant about the pot here. Now we can get too bogged down with the positional play sometimes. So just overcompensated slightly there, which is fine. We can go for probably for the blue ball. And again, that helps us in getting that back on its spot, gives us another option further down the table, so I'm not going to quibble at that too much. And we'll just look to drop this in. Then we'll have some sort of angle for the red that separates from the others a little bit further down the table. That's it. We'll have a good angle on that. And hopefully regain that angle on the black.
Well, he's taking it on.
Ah, good shot. Good shot all round there. Very nice recovery.
Position looks very good here. He's played that very
We did have a wayward shot earlier, and it's took that long to recover it. It's took that long to recover the position. However, with that, we have brought the blue back down. I think there was an inevitability about the shot at some stage that we would have had to have brought the blue or at least the pink into play to give ourselves an option
27.
over the black. If things didn't go overly well for us. Yeah, that red will go. Okay. Just needs to come off the cushion. Yeah, which it has done just enough. Like that. And then just to hedge our bets, we'll play up for the blue.
He's aiming for the left corner here.
Good pot.
Excellent shot.
wonderful shot.
Bit too straight on the blue, if you ask me.
35.
Very little leverage here on the cue ball.
Looking to play this with a lot of power.
It's all about how much side we can get away with here. So trying to hit this at the maximum pace, but for some reason the game doesn't like you doing that.
Pretty sure that's not the position he was intending.
No, it wasn't really the position I was intending, no, but
40.
again, it's a pig and a poke here. It really is. Maybe the wrong shot, who knows, but it isn't going to happen in this break. Put it that way, it's going to have to be a safety from here. But a good safety that was. He might be in a spot of bother here.
Neil Robertson, 40.
Plays that as cool as you might expect. Haven't really got a big advantage in this frame. Of course, remember Ronnie did have a few pots before we came to the table, so it's only a lead of 24 points with 75 still on the table, so it's nothing too advantageous. Be brave to take on a pot here. Yeah, he's not going to. Can't say I blame him too much on that score. It's just the risk factor, really. It's nothing else there. If we could, you know, play a shot to nothing and get away with it, then yeah, there's a fair reason for doing that. But yeah, you can't really go for a pot there. But we have left a chance open here for Ronnie.
To be careful with the pace of this shot.
Not that one. I didn't think we'd opened up that one for him.
1.
But he's played that very much as a shot to nothing. I would say I wasn't surprised to see him play up to the yellow and brown there, but he hasn't. He's played a very good shot. And we could be in trouble again this frame. We could be 2-0 down. Or he could play the most jammy shot possible. I mean, that is as good as 2-0 down, to be honest.
He could well leave an opportunity if he's not careful.
Just had to play a speculative shot like that.
He's avoided the foul. But he's left it
You just can't believe your luck sometimes. You're Ronnie, really, there. You went for the blue. There's no way you went for that safety. And there's just no way. We couldn't have just played up to those reds. It wasn't as simple as that because something would have been available.
6.
But Ronnie's not made the most out of it either, surprisingly.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 6.
And I wasn't expected to come back to the table with this sort of chance after the shot we'd just played. It's a good pot. We need this to pull up. Play the green, I suppose, here as a backup plan. But the balls are all over the table here. I know the blue, pink and black are in their normal positions. But to be honest, doesn't help us out much.
4.
With where these reds are sitting.
He's tempted by this red. He's missed it.
Well, been an off day for us so far. We haven't got into this match.
Robertson, 4.
We haven't got into it, and with that chance, we should have done more with it. Same goes for the first frame, but you can kind of excuse that first frame, given it was a long way back. But you can't gift any top 16 player a chance like this. 99 times out of 100, they're going to clear up.
8. 11.
So still looking for our first frame. Need to get that on the board next time round, I think.
16.
Cut the deficit to 2-1. And it's game on again. 3-0, it's not all over, but it is a fair way back from there. It's just the pink needed. Good stuff from Ronnie there. Which hasn't been good enough from us so far. We need to pick up our game. Both safety and potting, neither have been up to our usual standard.
He's extended his lead, and this will be worrying for his opponent.
This is a great opportunity to extend the lead even further.
But it's that Liverpool conundrum, isn't it, really, the last few years? I know it's not such a length of time, but recently we've been playing so well, it's almost a shock when we start getting beaten by a player. And you can't really compensate too much for a shot like that from Ronnie O'Sullivan. That is an excellent pot on that red there. Didn't do a lot wrong, and he's back in here. This could be over very quickly if he keeps playing like this.
11.
Bit unfortunate, though, with that split in the end. And that is, well, I don't think disaster is too harsh a word to use there.
He'll be disappointed with that.
It's understatement of the year from Dave Hendon.
Down it goes.
1.
And this now a chance for us. Again, almost very similar to the frame we'd seen, whereby it was us who had a good start, or at least frame 1 anyway, had a good start and couldn't keep it going. That's exactly the same as Ronnie here. He's got a bit unstuck.
9.
And really, you have to say, in the most harsher terms, he's played a bit of a half-hearted safety, which hasn't worked.
Drop into the centre pocket.
That's a disaster, that shot is.
Great cueing.
16.
Gonna need a lot of recovery from here.
Well,
The
he's
pot's
playing
fine,
this
position's
in
just a
left
nightmare
pocket.
though. So we have to sacrifice position on quite a few reds there. You can see at least one or two shoved out the way. It's just something we had to do though there. See how this one works out for us. Don't come too far up, but that should be enough. That should be enough. It's just all about whether we can hold for the black here. I don't think we can. My only reluctance is this have to come off the cushion, you see.
24.
See how we go here.
31.
Again, it's not... I wouldn't call this clean at all. We're chasing our tails. However, a good position on the pink might just put us back in with a shout.
Right middle pocket.
It's a good pot on the red and a good position on the pink. That might just open things up a little bit for us. And finally pick our position rather than pray the cue ball rolls round to a good position.
38.
Generally speaking, the tighter you keep the cue ball, the they say it's on a string, don't they?
$39.
Unfortunately, though, there hasn't really worked out the way I'd planned. So we have to split the two reds up again, just hope for the best, and admittedly we've had quite a fortunate split there of those two reds. Make your own luck though in this game sometimes, I think.
47.
I know it's a questionable statement, sure, but I think sometimes you definitely do make your own luck. I'm glad I didn't hit it at that pace. That would have been disastrous at 90-odd%. But when we get in, you can see we're making it happen. Famous last words, I'm aware of that.
He's going for it. Tremendous shot.
So 5 reds left on the table. That's 67 left. And how many are ahead? So after this pink, we're going to be 51 ahead. So not a million miles away from registering our first frame. And if we don't do it in the visit, most importantly, we have got a good gap to our rival, Mr. O'Sullivan.
61.
The problem is going to be those two reds that we saw earlier that we had to move to get position on the pink. That's too soft. That's going to be too soft to get on the black.
Brilliant pot. Outstanding.
Well, we are on the black, but yeah, I don't really fancy a next red from there. So can we manoeuvre from the pink and give those a nudge? We certainly can, but again, we are praying for a helpful split. But this is pretty much won. We'll be 58 ahead with 59 on.
He seems full of confidence at the moment.
68.
So just this red needed. And this will be more like it from us. I know it wasn't a perfect break, but that red, barring snookers of course, secures our first frame. It's been, well, not scrappy in the term you might sometimes use it.
Towards the left middle pocket.
But the position's been a bit scrappy. It's not been the best play from either player, I think it's fair to say. Ronnie looking a little bit more polished, but not perfect. But just glad we've got our first frame on the ball. We needed that. That would have been a disaster if we hadn't have got that, really. I think we'd have been in real trouble. Can't see how we're going to get onto these two reds. So I'm not too worried about it, to be honest. We don't need it to win the frame. We've got that well and secure now. 72 up with 43 on. So I'll just give this red a hit. Who knows what might happen. It certainly won't now, though. But the most important thing is we've got our first frame on the board. The deficit's cut in half. And Ronnie O'Sullivan now only leads by 1.
And that is the frame. Well played.
A little bit like the Murphy match. It's got that feeling of frames are going to rattle up quickly. So just need to make sure we don't get sucked in by that. Just keep our composure. But from the start of this break, much like the last one that we took, it's a chance straight from the break off, which is why I think these frames are going so quickly. But, you know, looking at this, it's going to be tough to get on a red from here. Give it our best.
Well
And that's
played.
probably on the red. It's a struggle, though, to get position next up. So, it's a brave shot, this. Opens up the red. So, we need to be confident at the pot, which, to be honest, I'm not. Let's line it up again. Okay, I'm a bit more confident now. But we have to go almost all or nothing on this, really. It's a good pot. But the problem with splitting straight into the reds when you've got a colour next
9.
is that you might not get the cue ball through. And there's just no viable way we can cut this black into the pocket. Isn't going to happen. So, you know, once again, I think we've been the casualty of our own good play almost of finding a red and getting things open.
Neil Robertson.
So really disappointing there. We are playing against a player who's similar to us, who again just likes to find opportunities and go for it.
And he's missed that.
But Ronnie O'Sullivan's missed that one as well. So as I said, both players certainly with imperfections to say the least at the I can't even really say the start of this match now. We're now in full flow in the fourth frame. But if we can keep this cue ball nicely controlled for the next few shots,
Position to take on a
we
colour.
might reap the fruits of our labour from earlier on. But it's these first initial shots of the frame, getting ourselves back into that position, playing with the black. It's all about that, really. Because if you can't do that, it just makes the frame harder for yourself. If you can't get the cue ball on a string, whether you're going for the black or whatever ball you're particularly targeting.
6.
It's just something we become so comfortable with that it almost feels a bit strange when the black's not in an available position. We have to push further up the table.
13.
Some good stuff played. Again, still work to do, I feel, to comfortably get in a good position to score a shed load of points. Just giving ourselves a backup plan there
14.
of the blue, and I think I might opt for it here. Just purely because of control of the cue ball. The black's on its spot. That's the main thing we want to do. Get that back on its spot. And then we've got a bit more leeway.
Wonderful pot.
And it is very much a hunch game, snooker, I think,
19.
of shot choice. Obviously, there's the logic in there, which, of course, comes into your hunch. But it's definitely a feel game of you just sometimes know what's right, really. Oh. But to go from 2-0 to 2 each, which we're certainly not there yet, long way off. But if we can get from 2-0 to 2 each, then it's disaster averted, I would say. Or crisis averted, rather. So black's not on, that's okay. Again, we like ourselves a good long pot, as long as the blue's not in the way for the next one.
Well, that's not ideal.
It is as well.
In a great position, that's for sure.
Yeah, I shouldn't have said that. It's given the kiss of death to that one. And again, another frame where we can't quite do it in one visit, and that is our clinical way of playing, which gives us such an advantage sometimes. We were going to do well not to leave this one red on, and that could be damaging.
Not what he intended at all. That's a poor shot.
Neil Robertson, 30.
Well, we were given a lifeline earlier by Ronnie O'Sullivan, missing a long red. He's not going to repeat that same mistake twice.
1.
Again, 3-1 to 2 each. Obviously, it's a big swing. Puts Ronnie in control if he can win this now from here.
17. 20.
And with that sort of shot, you feel like he deserves to win the frame. Even though we're nearly 4 frames in here and nearly half an hour in, I just don't quite feel like we've got going. We need that one big chance where we knock in a century and we get our confidence, but we shouldn't need that really. Should just be there straight away, and that's why we sometimes lose early frames. It's either one way or the other. We either come out with a really strong start out the blocks and run away with it, or we stutter a bit. And as I said earlier, I think I've said this a few episodes ago, more tongue-in-cheek than anything in the Judd-Trump match, that if you win every match at a landslide, it makes things a bit boring.
$39.
But certainly an alarming stat is that if he does win this frame, we need 4 out of the next 5.
47.
Which does make you shudder a little bit. But we take every frame as it comes. 2 of the biggest competitors in the competition, no question. I think if one of us gets through, it's fairly likely they'll win it.
$52.
But he's played some good stuff here, has Ronnie.
$53.
Now, he's pretty much bang on straight on the black, so is he going to get onto the yellow? He's obviously going to try it. Ah, it's a good shot. Very good pot. And he comes back round for the green, and he just needs this for the frame, and it's there.
62. 65. 69. 74.
So another one that slipped away from us. Very similar to the first frame, really. Didn't get enough of an advantage. And Ronnie O'Sullivan pounced in style there. I think he's getting more into the game as every frame goes. It's now 3-1 to the Rocket after 4. Which, if you look at it, isn't a disaster. I always say when we used to play the mini 4-frame sessions in a best of 9 that 3-1 wasn't a disaster, just as long as we got a frame on the board. So, just think this is our second session now. Time to pounce.
That is a quality opening red.
But you can't really say too much more than that was just astonishing, that shot. I was thinking, Kushti, we've got a really good safety there. How, you know, you can't legislate for that sort of pot. It's an absolutely beautiful pot. Ronnie O'Sullivan playing us at our own game here. And clearly from the scoreline so far, succeeding. He's a bit too straight on the black, so he's going to have to concede that that chance.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 13.
Ooh, this could loop around nicely. If it reacts well with the cushion. It could do, could do. Ooh, just a little bit too hard. Or else that could have been a really good shot. But Ronnie's given us a chance.
Half a chance, but a chance nonetheless.
Need to hold for the black, which is tough. Fairly confident of the pot. And that one drops in, and we do just about hold for the black.
1.
And we've played this sort of shot before, hasn't worked. This is the frame I feel like that we could do with that big chance, knocking a century. But I'll tell you what, once again, we've not had the most luck with splits. And I shot myself in the foot earlier by saying that you might make your own luck in this game. But the way that looks, no thank you. Don't want to bother with that at all. Just too tight to pot that red. See if we can get this in behind the yellow. Which we haven't done a bad job at.
8.
But is it going to be far enough away for Ronnie O'Sullivan to see a red? It could be. You can pot all the long balls in the world. If you're not going to have much luck with splits, then you know it ain't going to happen. And Ronnie O'Sullivan pots a long red. And you just have to say sometimes it's not your day. And that it's getting to feel like that. On a good day, those splits go right for you. We knock in a ton, and it's 3-2. But because it didn't go right, and because we've left a few reds, that's all that any top 16 player needs. And it looks like it's going to be 4-1 Ronnie, but not going to speak too soon.
11. 18.
But the way he's played so far, you would suggest it's going to be that result where he goes 4-1 up and gives us a mountain to climb here to stay in the Welsh Open.
$24. 25.
Is he going to pop that? No, he's not. Don't know if that was intentionally thin or not. I mean, it must have been with how he's played safety there. But an interesting shot. I just want to hit this as thin as possible.
He's attempting to
Come
get
back
the
up the
right stance
table.
on the cushion.
That's it. That'll do. Admittedly, that's come a bit too far, but it's not going to cause a massive issue. Again, only very much a half chance, which given Ronnie's record, wouldn't surprise him knocking that one in. He's going for this one on the cushion, which is brave. Famous last words. We didn't do a lot wrong there. I just feel like this game is slipping through our fingers. Lovely split. Lovely split.
7. 12. 13.
So the way it's going to be a mountain to climb.
20.
Not like we haven't faced that before. But the way we're playing, we need a sudden upturn in our fortunes to stay in this
28.
this tournament. Because with that most recent black, he has confirmed the frame. Going to let him play on here, I think. It's only fair.
35.
It's just not quite happened for us today, except we've not been perfect and we've maybe missed a few where we shouldn't have done and all the rest of it. And I know that contributes to it, but there are certainly 2 frames where the splits have been god-awful, and to keep the cue ball safe would have been a nightmare. So it's the way it is, but there are still 4 frames to go. We need all of them to stay in the Welsh Open. Ronnie O'Sullivan just needs one of those 4.
Thank you. The 6th frame. Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
And again, once again, it's the same old story. There ain't been a lot of safety.
This is a half chance.
That one red has usually been left. And apart from one frame, it's gone a similar way. We've potted a few, or even Ronnie, to be fair, has potted a few and not really done too much with it. But this could, again, be the start of a resurgence if we play well. I've said this, I feel like, throughout. There needs to be an upturn in our fortunes, because that big shot is going to come up next after this red. Although, again, we're going to be a bit straight on this black this time.
9.
Right. Could be our last shot of the match if it doesn't go right for us.
Playing this with a lot of power.
Yeah.
That's not what he was hoping for.
16.
Pace is very important here. And he
Just nudge into those reds. It's about the best thing we could have done there.
16.
And the way Ronnie's playing, it wouldn't have surprised me if he'd have flown that red into the corner pocket. Bit too soft, that shot, and it might end up costing us. We know he's liked a long red, but no, playing safety there. I think here we almost have to go for the jugular.
This is not easy.
No, not there. But we have potted the cue ball, which I guess is a bit of help, actually.
Foul.
Because
Ronnie
it
O'Sullivan.
leaves a longer range for Ronnie O'Sullivan to have to pot at. But when you get to this point in the match, and you haven't been playing well throughout, your opponents...
potting this into the
Again,
right
I don't want to sound cynical, but it feels like our opponents had all the luck so far. It just drains you.
Beautiful.
But Ronnie O'Sullivan isn't really being too clinical himself in this sick frame. Usually Ronnie would be knock one in and just get it over with.
He'll want to get this cue ball close to the cushion.
I feel like at this point it's going to be something fairly good that we need to beat O'Sullivan. No, that could be it now. That could be it.
Not this time. Close,
not been our day.
miss,
Hasn't been our day in the Welsh Open quarter-final. And you have days like this. We've had a good season so far. Again, we finished in the quarter-final at the Grand Prix. If we finish in the quarter-final here, I won't particularly shrug at that. It's been a consistent season so far, and this quarter-final appearance will keep up that consistency. We've just got so used lately to beating everyone that's come before us that maybe a few losses is a bit of a shock. But you have to have an off day sometimes. And it looks like we're going to have to get on with the next event. But again, Ronnie has been structured a little bit like us, it feels like, in this frame. And that is the biggest stutter he's had yet.
I'm not sure what happened there, but it's a poor result.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 20.
I thought it was all over there, I really did. I was not expecting to get another shot, especially with this sort of opportunity.
He's lining this one up to the middle pocket.
I'd be shocked if this wasn't 4-2. It's almost in our hands really now. All the reds
This should be straightforward.
available. Just need to keep it tight.
Nicely positioned for the black.
8.
Well, not perfect position.
15.
Again, it's like in Football Manager, I always say, a good team doesn't lose it overnight.
Looks good for a colour.
But, you know, we can be rusty.
16.
And sometimes, as I just said, you sometimes have an off day. But that isn't going to prevent us having a good go at it if we get a chance. And at the moment, we're striking in the balls at a rate of knots. And why not? If we can do, let's give this a go.
Perfect pace required.
We've
for
seen
this.
comebacks before where we didn't think we'd got a chance. And the same for opposition players as well, when we didn't think they'd got a chance.
24.
But alas, it has happened. So, let's see if it happens again here. Just take it frame by frame though, ball by ball. See how we go. See if this is maybe an upturn in our confidence.
$32.
As much as we scoff though, it is easy to go wrong here. Just making excuses for myself now if it goes
39.
badly for us. I mean, that's got to be some sign of luck, because on most of our bad days, those shots never go in, those tight ones.
Playing this with plenty of power.
But it was like Ronnie's had as a result of us playing a bad shot. It's a golden opportunity, which we are about to take. 38 up. Red and black, or any colour for that matter. So we'll make it the pink just to make sure of things. So red and pink.
Position
And
looks good
we've
for
got a
colour.
frame back.
48.
Just this pink now.
And it's there.
Nicely done.
Fair to say a few minutes ago I thought we were all done at 5-1.
In this frame.
But it's funny how getting one chance can just hype you up slightly. It might be
Right corner.
short-lived.
And in it goes.
It might be short-lived. We might not do anything here, but you never know. It's a funny old game, snooker. As I said, it wouldn't be the biggest shock in the world should we pull it off here from being 4-1 down, sorry.
60.
He's aiming for the left corner here.
But it's almost just we got nothing to lose
That's
now.
an excellent pot.
The game almost lost. And now we've all of a sudden got a chance. And this is that kind of century that I was talking about earlier. Alright, it's not going to be a century, but it's as close to as it can be.
The right corner.
And it's just it's a hunch and a confidence game, snooker.
64.
Only the
Let's
colours
see if we
remain.
can rebuild our confidence here.
66.
Played that a bit too soft, hence why the yellow nearly missed.
Not easy.
Nah, we've gone a bit too far on that one, but no problem. We're just getting a bit fancy towards the end, but we've knocked in certainly a lot more balls there than we expected. And we get one back. It's 4-2. It's not all over here.
That is the frame.
Thank you, the 7th frame. Neil Robertson to break.
Let's see how this break-off is, because we've seen some worldy pots from Ronnie O'Sullivan. I think we've blocked off any chance of that here. He's left that red over the pocket. Interesting.
Tricky pot coming up.
Yeah, I know it was a
Great
chance.
taking red.
1.
Again, it's that whole idea of a hunch. I had a bit of a fancy for that red, and
He's an
we
expert
went
long
for it.
potter, and he's taking this on.
Played the blue, a little bit too soft perhaps. But still on for the red.
Well, he's taking it on to the left corner.
Not quite though there.
Neil
Not
Robertson,
quite.
6.
But we've got away with that.
Playing the safety shot here.
That's our warning that maybe we shouldn't be so extravagant with our shots. But I'm tempted to be there. Really am, but as alluded to, maybe not. It's got a good line, back up to bulk. Win this one, and it's very achievable. There's only one frame between us. Now, I'm not going to say lose this one, and it's a bit tricky. So I don't even have to explain that little one. Ronnie's played a shot that we would play. A stupid one, but we go, why on earth we played that? Done that plenty of times. Where I've took the ball that would have given the safety out of the equation.
1.
That plenty of times before. And I have to admit, I played that far too hard.
So, this pot into the right corner.
Which is why I was a bit hesitant about playing that green, in truth.
Neil
Hasn't worked
Robertson,
out too badly for us, though.
Fancies this red.
But he fancies the red. Horrible place to cue from there. And he's been like it all day, as Ronnie. He's played a little bit too far for the red, which means he needs to recover.
1.
And it's not quite happened for him there. And I think this is a sign that Ronnie's starting to not buckle under the pressure, don't be silly. It's Ronnie O'Sullivan we're talking about here, but
Lots of power on
you
this
do
shot.
start to think whether it's a sign that we're being given.
It looks good to me.
And that, whether it was going to be a sign, absolutely is a sign. We didn't pot the original red there. That is unbelievable, actually. We didn't pot the red we wanted to there. We missed that because we hit it so hard, but we managed to cannon another one. Oh. As I was saying, we managed to cannon another one.
Neil Robertson, 1.
But that is the worst shot we've played all day. That is the worst shot we have played by far all day. And if we lose through that, well, we get what we deserve. Heading straight for the pocket, that, we missed it. Not hard enough. And that's generally our problem off phone when we're chasing. We can win one frame, maybe two. Although we did do it in that English Open match, of course, in the final. That was a one-off. We can win one frame, maybe two, and play a stupid shot like that and wreck all our chance.
17. 22.
I'd have rather lost 5-1, I think, now. With no hope at all.
28.
Braver man than me if he takes this on. Hasn't gone into the reds as far as I thought he would have done there.
29.
Still got some work to do. It's not plain sailing from here.
32. 33.
Oh, that's a good shot. That is a good shot. From the brown. Didn't expect that, but this has got to be a good one to stay in here.
44.
Yeah, end of break.
44.
Maybe not. Maybe not. I'm talking rubbish. I didn't think that was available to the
52.
centre pocket. And, well, never mind. End of break. End of match for us now. Just one red needed. It's opened up that quickly. But that's done it for Ronnie.
60.
And a little glimmer of hope towards the end.
61.
Had a good frame last time out, but it didn't do as I predicted it would. It hasn't opened things up for us.
69.
It's done the opposite, unfortunately.
74.
But he could finish it off in style, could Ronnie, here with a break of 101. The first and only century of the match. So another event finished. Again, good stuff to get to the quarter-final. Just not good enough on the day.
83.
So Ronnie O'Sullivan keeps up his good record against us. Might play against him again before the end of the season, who knows.
94.
But he's going to round off this match with a very good 101. We'll shake his hand. And Ronnie O'Sullivan, just the better player today. Almost beats us at our own game, really. The whole long pop tactic. Hendry-esque, really. I know I've said that far too often recently. But Ronnie O'Sullivan has beaten us 5-2. Then we are out of the Welsh Open. But we've got 2 of the 4 Home Nations events this year. I think we would have played a lot more closed snooker here if we had the Home Nation sweep to worry about. But it's one of those things. Didn't quite happen for us today. Ronnie O'Sullivan has beaten us 5-2 in the quarter-final of the Welsh Open. And Judd Trump, surprise, surprise, gets the Ray Reardon Trophy. We get the High Break Award, I think, from our 1-2-9 we got in the first round against Harvey Chandler. But, yeah, that's it for that. So, Championship League 5, Mark Williams wins. Championship League 6, Mark Allen wins. And it's the Snooker Shootout up next. That is going to be a cracker. I really look forward to that one every year. We have won that event once. And we are going to play in it, absolutely. Why not, as far as I'm concerned. Any big shocks in the rankings? No, don't think so. So, the events are counting down there. They certainly are. If you look, we've got the shootout, the players. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tournaments to go. And the shootout we'll probably do over 1 episode, if not 2. But it's a cracking event. Let's see, just to foreshadow this, who we've got firstly on Monday. We've got Jack Jones. That should be a great match. Well, if we don't go too far in the shootout, we'll play all of them on Monday. If not, we might go in to Wednesday. But a really nice, chilled event. And again, I'm really not bothered where we finish in this one. But obviously, what I have forgotten is that we won this event 2 years ago. And maybe that might change things a little bit. We've got 25,000 riding on this. If we go out of the first round, we could lose all that. But I very much doubt we'll go up to Jack Jones. But it's a funny old game. It's a funny old game, this. So I'll be giving you coverage all the way from the first round of the Snooker Shootout in Monday's episode. If you've enjoyed that, folks, make sure to leave a like down below. Comment your thoughts as well. And subscribe for regular Snooker 19 content. Thank you very much for your company today. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye for now.